Welcome to Traxos Tool Time. Hope you're excited. As far as opening hand goes, we've got Gyreach Sanitarium. Do we want to keep on this one? We're going to keep. Why not? We have Mannequin. Hopefully that'll put us online to get down at least get down Hedron Archive, and they can really kind of start going from there. But yes, welcome to some Traxos Tool Time. Hope you're excited. Let's go to get down Ink Moth Nexus. Yeah, that'll work. And then we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. We are playing Traxos Scourge of Kroog. Might have said that wrong, but hey. Trample whenever Traxos enters the battlefield, Traxos enters the battlefield tapped and does not untap during your untap step. Then, whenever you cast a historic spell, which is going to be an artifact, legendary, or a saga, untap Traxos, playing against Queen Marchesa. There we go. Opponent said they kept a cruddy hand, so hopefully that decision will be on them, and hopefully it makes for a good match. So we are playing against Queen Marchesa. Death Touch and Haste. Whenever Queen Marchesa enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch. Then at the beginning of your upkeep, if an opponent is the Monarch, create a 1/1 black assassin creature token with Death Touch and Haste. Let's go and get down Gyreach Sanitarium. Let's go and go for Mannequin. Get that down for 2. Get this, there we go. Get the stack pulled up right there, and then we're going to kick it back over to our opponent. We cover both commanders as free time. We can talk about whatever we want. That's going to be Traxos. I'm really excited to be recording Traxos today. They did the 1 versus 1 unbannings with a lot of that fast mana stuff, and this makes a deck like Traxos really good. So hopefully we can kind of get into that and get a lot of this really fun stuff onto the battlefield. Outside of the fast mana, I think the only thing that I added, and actually, well, let's get our turn going, and I'll talk about some of the additions, but mainly it's just 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there's nothing we can really do on this. We could go for... Yeah, let's go for Gyreach Sanitarium. Let's see if we can't make the land drop for the turn. Each player draws a card and discards a card. Ugin. Okay. I guess at this point right now, I do like Ugin against Queen Marchesa. Let's go and get rid of Book of Wrath. You know, that's something that... We have some other card draw in here that we can get going, so we'll be okay with that. Then we'll go and pass the turn to our opponent. But yeah, so we added the fast mana in here. I did add Meteor Golem in here, which is, I don't know, I love that card. So if we can get that going, that'll be a lot of fun. And our opponent's going to hit their 3rd land off that Sanitarium. But unfortunately, we do not hit the 3rd land, and they'll pass it to them. But if you haven't seen Traxos before, what are we doing with Traxos? As you can tell in the hand, this is just artifact, colorless, good stuff. We've got stuff like Ugin the Spirit Dragon. We have Karn hanging around here somewhere. We have Steel Hellkite. We also have Wormcoil Engine. And really just kind of, all right, but it's going to go for Vindicate on Ink Moth Nexus. So let's see if we hit that land drop. We'll at least still have 2 mana to go for. Drawn to Cloud Key. Okay, let's go and pass the turn to our opponent. Not really wanting to swing in. Well, we could swing in. But yeah, we'll just go kick back over to our opponent. But yeah, so we did some good artifact, good stuff. And it always makes me laugh when people just, when you're stuck on lands and they just go for that Vindicate. Just pow, boom. Have some fun. Yeah, we do have Wormcoil Engine in here. Other than that, there's not really too much combo stuff in here. Mainly just kind of looking to have some fun and get some really good stuff going. Opponent's going to get on Queen Marchesa. We'll see how long we can stick around with that Monarch token when they're getting that additional card draw. If we don't hit a few more lands, that's the only downside to playing a colorless deck like this, is that there's not really a ton of card draw. You do have access to stuff like Hedron Archive, but with that card draw, it comes at a price. You need to have a lot of access to a lot of mana to get some sort of card draw going. So let's see, we draw into Thought Vessel. Okay, that's something. Let's go and get down Thought Vessel. And they'll go and kick the turn over to our opponent. Now, hopefully, if we do hit the land drop next turn, that will put us online for Traxos. And the fun thing with Not of This World is that counter target spell or ability that targets a permanent you control. Basically, Traxos is sitting at a 7/7, so it's basically a free counter spell to protect Traxos. And it's one of those just... feels so good to get a Not of This World down whenever you can counter some sort of spell targeting Traxos. So hopefully if our opponent leaves Mannequin alone and we get down Traxos, we'll be able to go for Not of This World and at least have a pretty good laugh on our side of the board. Opponent's going to go for Ghostly Prison. Okay, it's not the end of the world for us. That will be Queen Marchesa swinging across for 3, knocking us down to 24, and that will be 6 total commander damage. Alright, see if we get that land drop. Come on, Traxos, give us a land. Okay. Oh, there we go. Ghost Quarter. Okay. Let's go and get down Ghost Quarter. And let's go and go for... Yeah, I like going for Traxos because that puts us online for an artifact next turn. I like that. Let's go and tap down for Traxos. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can still go ahead and go for Hedron Archive 2 next turn, and that'll also allow us to untap Traxos and still be online for Not of This World. And we do not want to F6 through this Not of This World. That would not be a lot of fun, so we're going to make sure we just don't auto-yield through everything. And we'll see if our opponent does have Path to Exile or Swords to Plowshare. Looks like they didn't go for that on Mannequin or Traxos, so we should be okay at least on some sort of 1 mana white removal. Opponent's going to go for Crackling Doom. Two damage to each opponent. Then each player sacrifices a creature with the greatest power among them. Okay. Now that actually is going to get around Traxos and Mannequin, which is a bummer. The greatest power. Yeah, there's not really much we can do in that. Okay, it's going to take care of Traxos. And then Seal of Cleansing, destroy target artifact or enchantment. So that's going to be really hard for us to get anything going. Basically, they go and crack it right now and just really cut us off on any sort of mana. Now, if they leave it untapped or at least uncracked, that will allow us to get down Hedron Archive, so we'll keep our fingers crossed. But we'll see our opponents. Yeah, exactly. They're going to go for Mannequin. So once again, we're going to keep our fingers crossed for a land drop. That way we can get down Hedron Archive and then go from there. Yeah, Queen Marchesa swinging in for 3. That's going to be 9 total commander damage, knocking us down to 18. And we draw to Dreamstone Hedron. Let's go ahead and get down Cloud Key, and we're going to go and name Artifact on this one. Yes, I would love to choose artifacts. We have a ton of artifacts, and we'll go and pass the turn to our opponent. Once we get down Hedron Archive, and once we actually get down Dreamstone Hedron, kind of an okay spot to go for Ugin. That's one of the good things about this deck, that Ugin is really such a strong card. Going for that -X ability is going to be a one-sided board wipe, and whenever you can get a one-sided board wipe in Commander, it is definitely something that really works out to your favor and really helps you get some good card advantage. Not card advantage, but at least kind of have a little bit more board advantage over your opponent, especially against something like a 3-color deck from our opponent. Queen Marchesa swinging across for 3, that'll be 12 commander damage, putting us down to 15. And drawn to Crystal Vein. Alright, so we're going to get down Crystal Vein, and let's go ahead and get down Hedron Archive. It's going to cost 1 less. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so get down Hedron Archive, then anything else? No. Let's go ahead and pass the turn. We could get down, F3. We can still go and get down Clock of Omens, excuse me. Let's go 1, 2. We'll get that down, because that's going to be 1 less, and that'll at least just give us something to do between Thought Vessel and like extra Cloud Key or something like that. And then anything else, we don't necessarily need to untap Hedron Archive. Now let's just go and pass the turn to our opponent. Now with Clock of Omens, so we can tap Cloud Key and Clock of Omens, it's going to allow us to get an extra Hedron Archive activation for that mana. So we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That'll put us in just the perfect range for Ugin to hopefully kind of clean up a lot of this stuff. So let's see, our opponent's going to roll out the turn, and then we'll at least be on the game plan of going for Ugin for next turn. Okay, opponent's going to go for Memorial to War, destroying Ghost Quarter, which, that's fine. That's not the end of the world on that. And with Crystal Vein, unfortunately, it's going to set us back on lands to where we basically only have 1 more land on the battlefield, but we can sacrifice Crystal Vein to add that double colorless mana to our mana pool, which I'll definitely be okay with going for at this point right now. And once we go for that -X with Ugin, we're only looking at Ugin for -4, which is not too bad. Okay, drawn to Drownyard Temple. It's going to get down Drownyard Temple, and then let's go ahead and let's get the Hedron Archive mana going. And it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's go and go for the -4, exile each permanent, that's 4 or more. And unfortunately, if they do, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They will have to hit the land drop to get down Queen Marchesa. So let's go and go for 4 off of Ugin. Alright, then we'll go and pass the turn to them. So if they do hit the land drop, that'll allow them to get down Queen Marchesa. Hopefully they won't be able to, because that commander tax on her will put her at 6 total converted mana cost to get her down on the battlefield. Now, if that doesn't happen and we still stick around with Ugin, that will definitely allow us to plus up on that and go across. But if all our opponent's going to do is basically get down Queen Marchesa, that's okay. Now, as far as next turn goes, we are looking at something like Dreamstone Hedron to get that down. Hero's Downfall, okay. We can still get down Steel Hellkite and also go for Dreamstone Hedron if we want to. So let's go and get Traxos pulled up, and that'll also put us online for still having that Knot of this World to protect Traxos if we want to go for some sort of commander damage win against our opponent. Okay, drawn to Tome. So we're looking at Traxos. It's going to be 6 total mana. I'd like to get some sort of threat on the battlefield, especially if our opponent has some sort of removal. You know, they're looking at them completely tapping out for Queen Marchesa. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go and go for Traxos. I'm going to tap down for 2 more, and let's go and tap down for Thought Vessel. Let's get Traxos down. And then let's go and tap down for Tome, too. Alright, so we get Tome down, and then anything else, let's go and pass the turn to our opponent. Now, we can go for Dreamstone Hedron next turn. Once we get down Planar Bridge, we'll kind of see exactly what we're going to start searching up. Typically, a lot of the really big creatures we have in here, it's going to be stuff like Wormcoil Engine, Steel Hellkite, Mere Battlesphere. So if we can start to use Planar Bridge for those activations, once we kind of get to that 8 mana, we'll be in a pretty good spot to start building some sort of board threat against our opponent. And they did get down Vault of the Archangel, so that's something we do need to keep in mind. Each player sacrifices a creature. Okay. Yeah, it's going to take care of Traxos. All right. An opponent will get down Queen Marchesa, and let's see if those are going to swing across. That will be 18 total commander damage, so that does put us one swing away from them swinging across with Queen Marchesa. That puts us down to 6, and then 18 total commander. See what we draw into. Drawn to Throne of the High City. I was going to get that down. Yeah, we need to have some sort of blocker on the battlefield. Yeah, let's go and go for Traxos. I like going for that. Let's tap down for Traxos. And that does leave us at 5 total mana to get down Planar Bridge to untap Traxos. Or we can actually go for Steel Hellkite. Actually, yeah, I like that a lot better. So let's do that. Let's go and tap down Tome. Let's go and tap down Thought Vessel. Excuse me, let's do the Clock of Omens first. There we go. Untap Hedron Archive. And actually, excuse me, I miscounted on that one. So they will be able to swing across with Queen Marchesa. I was counting the Thought Vessel on that with that extra activation. So actually, good game to our opponent. They've got it on this one. And unfortunately, yeah, I miscounted that mana, so they're able to get it on that one. So good game to our opponent. We're going to go and scoop it up. Unfortunately, we could have gotten down another creature. We probably should have gone for Steel Hellkite. That would have been another blocker. But they wouldn't have probably had some sort of spot removal to take care of it. But anyways, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye. Welcome to Traxos Tool Time. Ho, ho, ho. Hope you're excited. As far as opening hand goes, well, if we wanted to risk it to keep it, we would. But I'm not super wild about risking that one. If we don't hit that land, should have kept it. Let's go ahead and go one more mulligan. Yeah, we'll keep on this one. Don't want to go past that. Hopefully we get lucky drawing a few more lands. And we'll be good. Everflowing Chalice for 1. Yeah, I mean, that gets us somewhere. We'll go ahead and keep on that one. Put that one on top. It's almost kind of like a land drop. But yes, we're playing against Kynaios and Tiro. Kynaios. Let's go KT. I like that. Play against KT. That sounds like a lot of fun. Let's get down Urza's Tower, and then we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. We're playing Traxos, Scourge of Kroog, Tool Time. Trample whenever Traxos enters the battlefield. Excuse me, Traxos enters the battlefield tapped and does not untap during your untap step. Then whenever you cast a Historic spell, untap Traxos. Let's go and get down to Ghost Quarter. Let's go and go for Everflowing Chalice with 1 multi-kicker. Get that down for 1, and then we're going to go and pass the turn. Playing against KT. At the beginning of your in-step draw card, each player may put a land card from their hand onto the battlefield. Then each opponent who didn't draws a card. We're getting some pretty good land drops going from our opponent. Drawn to Blinkmoth Nexus. Okay. Let's go and get that down. Do we want to tap down for Traxos at this point? I think so. That sounds pretty good. Let's go and get down Traxos. That's going to put us online for Swiftfoot Boots for next turn. And once we do cast Swiftfoot Boots, that'll allow us to also untap Traxos and be in a good spot to start swinging in. We did cover both commanders as a free time. We can talk about whatever we want. That's going to be Traxos. So we added some new cards to the deck. Really excited. We have stuff like Soul Ring and Mana Crypt, and okay, I'm just such a happy camper. I was really excited to record Traxos with all that fast mana. Hopefully we get to see some of it pretty quick. Other than that, as far as brand new cards to the deck, we did add Meteor Golem to the deck, which is pretty cool. I love the card art on that one. It always reminds me of, what is it? It reminds me of a Deadpool when he's making fun of that guy doing the superhero smash. And so, I don't know, I love the art on it. It looks really good. Let's go and get down Rogue's Passage, and let's go and go for Swiftfoot Boots. Our opponent only has colorless mana up, so I'm A-okay with this one. So let's go and get down Swiftfoot Boots. It's going to untap Traxos, and then let's go and get the boots onto Traxos, because he'll look really nice with those boots on there. Real handsome. Let's go and swing across, take care of Shahili. Knock her down to -3, and then anything else, no, we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. Now, as far as the deck goes, I think that's the only new addition that we've added to the deck. If you haven't seen this video before, what are we doing? This is basically like Tron for Commander. You know, we're looking to we have a ton of really good stuff in here, stuff like Wormcoil Engine. We have, what is it, Meteor Golem, like I mentioned, Mere Battlesphere, and just pretty much all your fun. Oh, we do have some good Planeswalkers in here. We have Ugin, which is always a lot of fun to get that one-sided board wipe, especially with us playing all colorless lands. Also have a couple instances of Karn. I think we have we do have Karn Liberated, and we do have the 4-mana Karn. So it actually works out really well to get those Scion tokens going. Opponent's going to get down Arena Rector. Whenever it dies, exile it, search your lobby for a Planeswalker card, put it onto the battlefield. Okay, so that's something that we may not want to go for swinging with Traxos just yet. So is there any certain way we can kind of sequence this turn with Paradox Engine a little bit better? Yeah, let's just go ahead and get some stuff onto the battlefield. Once we get down Paradox Engine, we can kind of start casting some stuff. So I'm just going to tap down for Thrain Dynamo. That's going to untap Traxos. And then let's go and go for Unwinding Clock. Okay, and then anything else? We're not really wanting to swing into Arena Rector at this point right now. We could have tapped down for a Rogue's Passage just to swing across, and that would have put us on like a 3-turn clock with commander damage. But at this point right now, just in case our opponent has some sort of, destroy target creature or target player sacrifices a creature, I definitely wanted to at least kind of get down Thrain Dynamo, get down Unwinding Clock, because that really kind of keeps us open as far as anything else that we kind of start to draw into. But going forward, pretty much the game plan is going to be swinging across on our opponent, if possible. At the beginning of your in-step, draw a card. Each player may put a land, and then good. That's going to allow us to draw a card, so I'll take that. Draw into waste, okay, and I think that's the only waste we have in the deck too. Dread Statuary. Let's go ahead and get that down just in case our opponent starts swinging across for something crazy. And let's go ahead and go for Rogue's Passage on Traxos. Okay, let's go ahead and swing across for 7. That will put them down to 23, and that will be 7 total commander damage on that. And then do we want to go for Scrap Trial? No, let's just go and hold on to it at this point right now. We'll be good to go. Now, we can get down Paradox Engine next turn. We're just not really in a super rush to get it down at this point because we have Unwinding Clock. It's really going to allow us to untap a lot of our stuff. And hopefully, if we want to, we can get down Paradox Engine, kind of hold on to Scrap Trawler. That way, we can at least kind of maybe have an explosive turn where we need to cast it and untap some of our artifacts for some reason. But I'm just going to go for Prime Time. Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's anything we want to do in response to that. So, yeah, go for it. Now, here's the deal. Do we want to go for Ghost Quarter? Because they have Amulet of Vigor down on the battlefield. And they could go for the haste option with that untap ability. But either way, it's going to come into play untapped. And give it haste with Prime Time. Yeah, let's see what they search up with Prime Time first. Okay, opponent's going to go for Boros Garrison. And then what else did they grab? I think it was just Boros Garrison. Yeah, I guess that was the only land. Up to 2 lane cards. Yeah, I guess that was... No, excuse me. They got Guy's Cradle. Excuse me. So that's going to allow them to untap and have a little bit of extra mana off of that. And they can also use the Deserted Temple to untap Guy's Cradle. And then we'll go for Green Sun Zenith for 5. Okay, let's see what they're going to search up on this one. And that will be Prophet of Kruphix hitting the battlefield. Now, they do have 1 mana left over. If they were going to go for Guy's Cradle, untap with Deserted Temple, thought about going for Ghost Quarter, but we probably still might end up going for Guy's Cradle off of Ghost Quarter, just to kind of keep them off a little bit of extra mana. Okay, so we got them swinging across for 3. That's fine. That's not the end of the world with that. Now, one of the things that we do have in this deck is we have access to a lot of universal removal. The only downside is we're looking at 7 total mana for that. So hopefully if we can get lucky, we can draw into one of those. We definitely don't really want to get Prophet of Kruphix or Prime Time on the battlefield. Yeah, I'd like to draw a card instead of a land if possible. Draw into Crystal Vein, okay. And then draw into Plainier Bridge. Let's go and get down Crystal Vein. Yeah, let's get down Crystal Vein. Let's go and go for Rogue's Passage on Traxos. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to allow us to swing across for 7. I just love thinking about Traxos sneaking by all these creatures out there. It can't be just, imagine trying to fit Traxos through that little Rogue's Passage door in there. And just all the the rocks falling down as he kind of sneaks through there. But hey, that's fun for him. Then let's also go ahead and get down a Plainier Bridge, because it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's also going to allow us to go for... Unfortunately, we're not going to have just enough to go for the activation off that, but at least next turn, that does put us online for going for a Plainier Bridge activation. So we're going to go and untap Traxos. It's going to allow us to be an additional blocker too, kind of at least hopefully hold Prime Time back, and we'll see what they're going to tap down for. Opponent's going to go for Avacyn, Angel of Hope, okay? Now, the only downside to Avacyn is that a lot of our stuff is destroy target permanent. I think we do have one Actually, All Is Dust is going to be one of the things that we can do to get around that. The only downside is Planar Bridges that searches for permanent cards, but if we can draw into All Is Dust, that would definitely really kind of help us get around that Avacyn. I think there is Scour from Existence, which is a 7-mana exile effect, so that's something that we can also go for. But let's see if we can survive this turn. I know they've got a lot of action on their side of the board, but let's see what they roll down for the turn. And our opponent did grab a, off the e-call, and they grabbed a creature. They grabbed Bramble Sovereign. So whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield, pay 2, create a token that's a copy of it, which they are getting down onto the battlefield right now. They only have one card in the hand, so we'll see what they're going to be able to cast and at least kind of make a copy of. I think if they end up going for Governing Township activation, it's not going to be too bad for us. We're looking at 5, that's going to be 12, 15, and that will be exactly 24. So shouldn't be too bad, but we'll see. Actually, if they go for Township activation, I don't think they'll have enough mana, so we hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be able to survive this one. And actually, excuse me, depending on what they grab with Prime Time, I think that might give them just enough mana to go for Governing Township activation. Okay, that's going to put us down to 2, and that will be 5 total commander damage. They did not grab a white land for that extra activation off Township, so... And at this point right now, we definitely want to draw some sort of card off of this. Draw into Steel Hellkite. Okay, and then we draw into Walking Ballista. Let's go and get down Waste, and I guess at this point, our opponent did search up a Maze of Ith, but unless I'm just looking at something... Oh, excuse me, they grabbed an Arcane Lighthouse. Until end of turn, creatures your opponents control lose Hexproof and Shroud, and can't have Hexproof or Shroud. So is there any certain way we can get out from underneath that? Now, yeah, basically what we can do is if we go for Ghost Quarter on Maze of Ith, that's going to get rid of that Maze of Ith activation. That does put us in a spot to where they might be able to go for some sort of spot removal. But by us going for that, that should... I think that's going to... Yeah, because they're going to get rid of that spot removal. They only have 2 cards in the hand, so let's see what they have. And let's go and go for Rogue's Passage on Traxos. And let's go and push across for 7. Let's see if this is good. Opponent did throw something up in the chat. They said, good game. They will go for Arcane Lighthouse activation. Oh! I completely forgot about Avacyn. Never mind. I got ahead of myself. Yeah, they went for that. We could have, I guess technically we could have gone for Planar Bridge. But yeah, long story short, yeah, good game to our opponent. I completely forgot about that out there. We'll go and scoop it up on this one. I always forget that Avacyn gives everything indestructible. But yeah, what I was thinking about was Ghost Quarter on Maze of Ith. That would have gotten rid of it. But with them going for Arcane Lighthouse, that basically gave them... Didn't have Hexproof on Traxos anymore, and also allowed them to go for that Maze of Ith activation. Now, if we had a little bit extra mana, what we could have done is gone for something like Pithing Needle with Planar Bridge to kind of target Maze of Ith, but the only downside to that is that we would not been able to swing in for that lethal damage with Traxos to give it Rogue's Passage, swinging across for that commander damage. So unfortunately, they had a lot of good stuff on the battlefield. Definitely see getting down Avacyn definitely helps to give that indestructible to everything. Makes it really hard to get anything going. But anyways, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.